episode contains discussions about suicide and mental health that may be distressing to some listeners. If you or someone you know is struggling, we encourage you to seek support. You can contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by call or text at 988 or reach out to a local mental health resource. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Quote unquote, being strong is really what's killing us. And it says the pressure to always being the provider, protector, and never show weakness often leads to silent suffering and emotional shutdown. Many Black fathers are emotionally unavailable due to untreated trauma. And how they explain that is this isn't about blame, it's about breaking cycles and recognizing that unhealed wounds can shape how we show up for our kids. Man up is one of the most dangerous phrases we were ever taught. And it says, it discourages asking for help, expressing pain, and acknowledging mental struggles, all of which can lead to long-term damage. There's a lot of quote-unquote player behavior is rooted in emotional avoidance. What you rather do? Open up to your best friend about your struggles or talk to a therapist you've never met before? Would you rather be emotionally available in a relationship but feel vulnerable, or stay guarded and risk losing someone who cares? What's going on? It's your boy Jamar Alizé.
It's Sean Ford.
And welcome to another episode of
What You Talking About?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this month, of course, we know it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. All right. And I feel like, our shows this month, I think we should go ahead and focus on that because, men's mental health is a really important thing. You know what I mean?
It's under talked about as well. I mean, as of late, it's been talked about, the past couple of years, but, it definitely should be brought to the front.
Yeah, man. So I think this is going to be a real special episode, man. And, I'm excited about it because I'm excited to even, share my thoughts, share some of the things and experiences that I've been through, and I know you've been through some too.
A lot.
So, yeah, man. So what we going to start the show off with, we're going to go into our little segment we call What You Think.
Okay.
And, this is just straight blind, just straight raw reactions, man. That's what we want to just, flow naturally, man. We don't want to, be just by the script all the time, but
unscripted.
You know what I mean? So unscripted, unfiltered, man. It's going to be some good stuff, but I want to go ahead and play this video and see how we feel about it, man. See what you think.
For sure.
You wish more women knew about how men operated?
There's 10,000 times more going on inside the head of a man than you have any idea. He's carrying burdens that you don't have a clue about, and he don't know how to express them, and he don't know what to do about it, and he figures if he puts it out there and communicates it, he's just going to be shot down, called a fool, called weak, so he carries it inside, and you have no clue the burdens and the hell that most men are carrying inside and not even showing you.
Sheesh.
Boy, that's deep.
That's deep,
That's
bro.
Because it's so true, bro. Like the amount of stuff that goes on in a man's head on a daily basis is crazy. Like we just had a conversation yesterday at work, right? And it's kind of touchy. It was like my manager, she said, you get 2.5 minutes of fun while I got to do this for 9 months as far as, children go, right? And I was like, I understand that. And I can't say I can't say I feel you because I don't know what that's like. But at the same time, it's like this. Look at it from this perspective. In America, a woman can try and fail when it comes to children. And people, they look at it like, oh, you tried, they'll give her welfare, whatever, right? They don't say you failed. But as a man in America, if you fail, they call you, ain't shit, or, you trash, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
They downplay you and stump on you so hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we got to do that for 18 years at least, at minimum.
Yeah.
if you're an active person or active father.
Yeah.
So there's like no room for failure. And those are some of the things that a man has to think about, on a daily basis. Some of the
For sure.
burdens, taking care of his family.
Yeah, man. That whole thing about like just you truly don't understand how much, some men really have on their plate. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
you want to be the provider, you want to be the one who, brings security to not even just your family, but your woman, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And, that's a lot of pressure, man, because, for me, I didn't grow up with a male role model or somebody that I looked up to, like, I want to be like that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and no disrespect to Pops at all, because, I know Pops, he hustled, you know what I mean, to take care of his financially,
Right.
But, you know, it's tough when, like they say, like, you always got to toughen up, you got to man up and shit like that. That's kind of, what I mean, that's kind of difficult, and when you get older, you start to see, and I started to see, like, when I was in my darkest moments, like that toughen up and man up stuff, that is like the world is on your shoulders, and it is tough
It's
to get
hard to
by.
do, especially learning that from a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, and I shout out my mom, because my mom could give me that motherly love, but that fatherly love, that fatherly figure, that man that you could see, like, oh man, I see him in an emotional state, or I see him, able to express his feeling in a good way, instead of, you know, any type of aggression, like, like you mainly see. So it's like, some people just don't know and really don't care to ask, really, how are you doing mentally, because I seen the pivot with Ryan Clark
Yeah.
and them, and what's the name, was just like, the happiest man in the room might be going through the most, you know what I mean? So not always do you see the happiest one in the room, really being really truly happy, you know what I mean?
Or you'll see them super happy, but you don't know that they leaving all of that sadness at the door or is still
Mhm.
inside of them,
Yeah.
So that's true.
Yeah, man, that video was tough, man. If you if you really think about it, but on to the next thing. So I found some. I looked and found some, like, they call them like unpopular opinions. Okay, and
Hmm.
this is kind of more focused on, again, men's mental health. So one of the things said was, quote unquote, being strong is really what's killing us, and it says the pressure to always being the provider, protector, and never show weakness often leads to silent suffering and emotional shutdown. What you feel about that? What you think?
So the first part where it said being strong is what hurts us.
Yeah, being strong is killing us. And it says the pressure to always be the provider, protector, and never show weakness often leads to silent suffering and emotional shutdown.
I think that's true. I really do believe that is true because, like I said earlier, if you're, real man, that pressure to do that, if you're, not in a position or a career where you can, really do that,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough. So you can't fail. It's like it's impossible for you to accept failure, So I really do think that's true.
Yeah, I think sometimes being strong doesn't mean that you can't really be emotionally available, and I think that's kind of the misconception, and why I also believe that opinion is true, because, a lot of being strong means that you hold a lot of things in, and instead of really expressing those things that are actually hurting us, we let it hurt even deeper. And that's why, you know, suicide rates and stuff like that are up in men.
75% of suicides, I think, this year, in 2025, have been men.
Yeah, and I believe that it's that being strong
Hmm.
and not really being emotionally available, or even emotionally intelligent enough to really have the means to be able to express yourself. And So I agree. I mean, what you think about that? I definitely agree. You know what I mean?
100%.
Another one says many black fathers are emotionally unavailable due to untreated trauma. And how they explain that is this isn't about blame. It's about breaking cycles and recognizing that unhealed wounds can shape how we show up for our kids.
So I think, again, 100% true. There's a lot of people in their, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, some of them even in their 60s, where things that happened to them as children that was never, talked about, or they didn't express themselves, or was just pushed to the side.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go see anybody. A lot of that stuff ends up shaping who a person becomes, how they act and how they deal with certain situations, their character, all of that. It shapes them. And sometimes that's a negative shaping.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. So it took me going to therapy in a way to kind of like break that. So I don't think I was ever, and I won't even say like I didn't have any type of trauma, childhood trauma growing up, because I think for a young man, a trauma could be not having his father there.
100%.
Having a male role model, a male figure in your life, I think that is a trauma for us young, and even, more importantly, us young black men.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think because, again, we have to be that tough, man of the house so early.
Yep.
I think that, not for me specifically, because when I had my daughter, I cried. When my daughter first came out, I cried like a baby.
Right.
I cried like a baby in front of, I didn't care who was there. You know what I mean? It was like, as soon as I had her, it was like, yo, I am this emotional dude. I could cry off of seeing something on TV.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it is what it is.
Get emotional. You know what I mean? I think that once I had my child, I think that just healed, you know what I mean, any type of wounds that was emotionally there.
Right.
That I feel like it was no way in this world that I couldn't be emotionally available to my daughter.
And that's a real man to be able to, willingly do that and not care who's around. You know what I'm saying? To be able to share that side of you. That's a real man for real.
I pretty much cried out. Every one of my kids came out, I cried, but I do wonder though, if I did have a son first, like how emotionally available would I have been, or would I have been the whole toughen up, don't cry?
Not in the moment of him being born.
Nah, I'm just saying not being born, but I'm saying like as he was to get older and stuff like that, and me actually being a father in his life, would I be the toughen up? Because I do catch myself even now with Drew.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even though he's 3, I hate for him to be just crying over something that he doesn't even like. If it ain't something that should make you cry, don't be crying just to be a brat about it.
Exactly.
But then I go back and think like, well, am I denying him? You know what I mean? Am I denying him his feelings and how he feel at the time? How do I help navigate a 3-year-old's feelings? You know what I mean?
It's tough.
It's tough, and it's tough not using those words like,
right,
stop crying like a girl, or toughen up. You a little boy. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard not to use those words, and it's, you know what I mean?
You're right.
And it's one of them things that I feel like we all got to figure out and navigate a way to be able to vocalize the, hey, don't cry, but in a healthy way. You know what I mean?
100%. Because I got a boy too. They're the same age, so it's like, I be sometimes catching myself like, stop all that crying. That's what girls do. And then I got to be like, okay, he don't understand that yet, But, you kind of want to toughen them up and make them, I don't want to say soft, but, make them a little tough, because they are boys. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. I catch myself a lot though. Like,
it's tough though.
That's what I'm saying.
It's very tough, because it's more so because when you say that, then are you emphasizing the fact that a woman is weak?
That's what I'm saying.
and you don't want to, you know what I
You
mean?
catch
So you
yourself,
don't, so
like,
you
for
have to
real.
catch yourself, and it's one of those tough things. And like I say, man, it's one of them things. Like, hey, what do we say, or what words do we use to help even our 3-year-olds, 3-year-old young toddlers, boys, to be able to say, hey, you can feel how you feel, son. But hey, if we gonna cry, let's cry for this or cry for that. It's kind of like one of them teaching moments, like, hey, you don't cry because
Yeah.
you're not getting your way. You know what I mean?
So
Let's work hard.
what I've done is sometimes if my son is throwing like a little tantrum or whatever, right? I'll let him do it for a little while, and then I'll like tell him, "Hey, come here, stand up, look at me. What's wrong? Like, don't sit there and do all that crying stuff. Like, you have to talk to me, tell me what's wrong, and
Yeah.
we can figure it out." But he's still young. He probably don't even understand.
Don't
half of it.
understand.
You know
Still
what I'm
gonna cry
saying?
over it. Hey, you talking about cookie? Oh my God.
Or
Gee.
whenever you tell him no, it's like,
Oh man, don't tell him no.
Jesus
Hey, it's a wrap. All right, so speaking of the man up thing, one of these unpopular opinions says, "Man up is one of the most dangerous phrases we were ever taught," and it says, "It discourages asking for help, expressing pain, and acknowledging mental struggles, all of which can lead to long-term damage." How you feel about that one? What you think?
Man up kind of depends on how it's being said to you.
Okay.
And then it also depends on who says it, because there's some things that some people can say to you, and then other people say it and you're not going to accept it or take it. But I mean, if you got thick skin, man up is cool. But if you don't, then, you might take it a certain way and feel a certain way about it.
Man, I'm kind of on the fence, man,
Right.
because man up in certain situations, like you said, like, to me, it's like, yo, buckle down.
Right.
It's time to make shit happen.
Right.
Excuse my language, but it's time to make stuff happen. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's so many ways that you can take that. I don't think it's like one of the most dangerous phrases that we were ever taught, though. You know what I mean? I think saying like "stop crying like a girl" is way worse than saying, "Hey, man up." You know what I mean? Like, cause man up to some people, all right, I got you. That's kind of like some motivation. All right, I got you. I'm gonna handle mine.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't think that that's like a silent thing to be like, hey, man up. Just stop acting like,
Yeah.
stop bitching and stop crying. You know what I mean?
Because
I don't think that's what it's.
it can be constructive
Yeah.
or destructive, depending on how you take it.
Yeah. Certain situations, nah, for sure.
For sure.
I mean, because now if I'm like crying to like if I'm expressing myself to my woman or something like that, and I'm like really in my feelings, like being vulnerable or something, and she tell me to man up,
That's
oh yeah, it's
trigger time.
it's a problem.
100%.
No, you cannot.
That's destructive.
Yeah, you cannot. Hey, tell a man to man up that's being vulnerable. At least, you know what I mean. A man that you have that is emotionally intelligent and will be able to express exactly how he feels.
Right.
To tell that man to man up, oh yeah, that'll what they call that, gaslighting.
Oh, for sure.
That whole gaslighting phrase.
Like,
oh
if
man, it's
they're-
turn up.
If they're constantly, emotional, then I can understand you saying man up in that situation. But if they're a person that controls their emotions and, every once in a while they let go, don't tell them to man up. That's messed. Like, come on. That's messed up, man.
Man up. Nah, that's crazy. All right, one more. I got another good one though. This one right here.
Yeah.
This one good. It says a lot of quote unquote player behavior is rooted in emotional avoidance. So again, a lot of player behavior is rooted in emotional avoidance.
Okay.
Basically saying that multiple women, constant distractions, and surface level relationships are often a cover for fear or fear of intimacy and rejection. How you feel about that one?
It's almost like yes and no. Because I understand, like, when you break it down about the fear of this and that, I get that part of it. But then you also have certain people who they were hurt. And so, they might just, instead of committing, they, be a player. But at the same time, that does fall into that they have the fear of being hurt again. So that's why they fall into that quote unquote player role. But
see, man,
so I agree with it.
I mean, being a player is like, I have to feel like that's hard, like juggling multiple women and being emotionally attached to a bunch of different women. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't see how you like are being emotionally avoidant, because it takes many emotion. I mean, it takes emotion to actually be in those relationships with those different people. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. Let me say that. I'm speaking for myself, because any like woman that you are dealing with, like in a player, like you single, you got multiple women. Like for me, like I'm gonna be emotionally attached
Have you ever had
to.
a player, experience?
Absolutely.
So you were emotionally attached to everybody you was talking to? Or there were some yes, some no?
Some, yeah. Some was surface level. Some was just for the, for the fling.
Yeah.
And and I had some that was like emotionally, like, I felt like and treated like they was my woman. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah, so say if you got 5, 2 of them you might be emotionally attached to.
or 3.
Man, if it's 3 now, you had a problem. You
Or
really
5.
trying to juggle, and
Nah,
that's
I'm
where the
saying-
problem. Oh heck no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
But I don't think that it was. I don't think any of that for me was like the fear of rejection. I don't think it was a fear for intimacy, because I mean, we live in a society now where you gonna get that. You gonna get an intimate situation off rip.
I'm telling you.
Off rip. First night, intimate. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you think of it like them first even couple encounters are like that honeymoon phase for real.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So like, I don't think it, like being a player, like, is that. Now, if you got that one guy who got mama issues, who like,
Right.
who know like, hey, it ain't no way. I don't want no woman. Like, I can't trust no woman. You know what I mean? Maybe that I could see that person being more of a, avoidant. You know what I mean? Fear of the real, true like connections and intimacy. You know what I mean? But it's hard to really say whether or not, you know what I mean, being a player is rooted in.
I wouldn't say
emotional
rooted. I don't want to say rooted, but those things can happen to some people about, being a player. The fear and, intimacy, all that stuff can cause you to be a player, but I don't think it's rooted in that though. Because everybody's different. Everybody approaches it different,
Yeah, being a player, man, you know what I mean? That shit is tough, man. Threw my player card away a long time ago, bro. That shit is
Me too. It's over with.
That shit is tough, man.
It's too much.
I mean, and then we live in this, you know what I mean, we live in a world where, the women are becoming men now. The men are coming, like, it's almost like we switching roles. Like, you starting to, and I mean, shout out to, Men's Mental Health Week. I mean, Mental Health Month and all that. You know what I mean? But now that you getting these men who are actually starting to be willing to express themselves and willing to be vulnerable with women, now you got women who just want to be hard and, you know what I mean, don't want to hear that. Or you see, the good guys are really finishing last now, bro.
Y'all want it so much for men to show their emotional side and be, soft or whatever you want to call it. But then when they do it, you call them soft or weak or this and that. And now they all in they masculine energy. And it's just.
Yeah, man, women need to go ahead and start being soft and feminine again.
I'm telling you.
Being soft and feminine, man. Us men love that. Hey, us men love a soft,
I do for
feminine
sure.
woman.
For sure.
Loving.
I'm telling you.
Bring it, bring come to me. You
I'm
know what I
telling
mean?
you.
For sure, man. So let's switch the vibe up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
We gonna go ahead and hit you with the what you rather do. All right. So the first one, what you rather do? Open up to your best friend about your struggles or talk to a therapist you've never met before. What would you rather do, Dale?
I'm gonna say both. I gotta pick one.
You gotta pick one.
Because I've done it, I'll say a therapist. Because I've done it. A therapist does not know you at all except for what you tell them. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a biased opinion or any of that. So they can give you, especially a licensed therapist, a professional reasoning about whatever it is that you got to tell them. So that's why I would say a therapist over a friend. But with a therapist, you got to be all the way honest with yourself. You can't give them half the story. You got to say whatever it is fully for them to give you, the best reasoning or answer that you're trying to, obtain. So I would say a therapist.
And this is a tough what you rather do. Man, I I don't know, man.
Why?
It's again, I've shout out to my therapist because I have been in therapy before. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And shout out to my best friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the more people that I have came to before, but I think in a situation like that, what I'd rather do, I would rather talk to a therapist. I would.
Mhm.
And not to throw no shade at none of my friends or anything like
Yeah,
that.
no shade.
Because I do think like when you do come to your friends or your family or something like that, sometimes those opinions are biased, because they always gonna be there to support you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not to say like, man, if you got a friend that you can go to that friend.
Right,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
Please, because everything is better. Everything is better let out than stayed in. But like you said though, a therapist, like when I was in therapy, like she really made me look in the mirror. You know what I mean? It was no pointing fingers or blaming anybody for any of my decisions,
Mhm.
any of the choices I made, any of the actions or the words I said or the things I said. I was actually able to sit down and really look in the mirror and recognize,
Mhm.
my issues and, the things that I had to deal with and tackle within myself. You know what I mean? I had to make my cup full before I was able to go ahead and even pour into anybody else's cup. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
And I told her about a lot of intimate things that, what I mean, I had dealt with in my childhood and even like, when I was them times when I was feeling like honestly, I mean, there's been times I felt suicidal before.
100%.
And anybody who know me would not even believe that because I'm always that happy. Man, I'm like the life of the party. I'm the happy one.
Never show that.
You know what I mean? You'll never see you'll hardly ever see me down with a frown,
Right.
looking down, shoulders down, none of that, head held down, none of that, because it's just not in me. And even back then, like I gotta honestly say, like one of the first times that I was when I felt suicidal, I was it was when I broke up, when me and my first child's mother broke up. And when Jersey was born, like that was everything for me.
Boy.
And when I bought our first house and stuff like that, Jersey had her own room and everything like that. So when we had broken up, like just that feeling of emptiness, like when it was like, dang, I was coming home and I knew my baby wasn't gonna be there. Like I think that was the biggest adjustment. Like yeah, we had shared parenting and stuff like that. We made it to where we was, I was able to see her, but it was the times that she was gone. And, you know, it was just like, what is life? Because it felt like that was my life.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? And it was just tough. I was drinking like crazy, man. I was just going out, just being reckless. I was, you know what I mean, just doing stupid, drinking and driving and
I remember that.
all type of just reckless stuff. And then it was just like, you know what am I here for? Like, I don't even, because I never thought that my life would be me not being in my children's life every single day, like being with the person. I always said, like, I wanted to be with the person I had kids with, had married, being my kids like every day. You know what I mean? That sort of, and when it didn't happen for me like I wanted to,
Right.
I was just like,
You felt defeated.
I was crushed, bro.
I feel it.
I was crushed. And then I was just like, bro, like, man, whatever. You know what I mean? And then, of course, even then, I didn't think therapy, you know what I mean? I just kind of like sucked it up and kind of just like, you know, you got this. Like, I always think like, what would your daughter, like, how would your daughter feel if you was gone? Because, you know, I know my baby, she's a daddy's girl.
100%.
So it'd be like, what would she have felt like? And then I would even say like one of the most recent times that I did feel that way. And this was even after having a therapist and everything, you know. I was so down, bro, one night, I kid you not, man. And this is, I ain't never talked to nobody about this before, but it was one night, man. I grabbed my pistol and I mean, it was storming outside, bro. And it was like 2:00 in the morning. And I legit went outside and just walked. Jacket on, no hood, just shoes and shorts. Walked outside, bro. And I walked outside and just aimlessly walked. And it was like everywhere I went that I was just like, I walked through a cemetery, man. I walked past rivers and stuff like that. And I just like every little place I went to, like I could see myself just dead and them finding me. You know what I mean? And then I thought like, man, how would my kid, what would happen with my kids, my family? Like, what impact would this have on them? And I just kept walking. And I mean, I walked until it was light outside. I probably walked for 5-6 hours. And I finally came to a point where I sat down and I'm just like, you better than this, man. Like, whatever you going through, man, you take that up with God and, you know, recognize that it's somebody that's going through something that's way worse than this.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like, somebody is going through something way worse than this. And for you to give up in this manner, like, it ain't worth it, man. You got this. And, you know, I stood up and I was just like, I can't do this, man.
Right.
And it was just like, you know what, man, I'm a buckle down. And, you know, a lot of my therapy now is like making music and stuff. Like when I really feel away, like make some music, like even if I don't put it out there.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
for sure.
You know, but it's just like it's getting off. It's something that I'm able to express myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I encourage anybody, you know what I mean? I was once taught back in high school, like diaries and stuff like that is not just for a woman.
Yeah.
Like,
Or a journal, whatever.
or a journal, like get in your book and write.
Mhm.
Write exactly how you feel. And that's all that's in a form of expression to get whatever you feeling off your chest instead of holding it in and let it build up. And when that situation happened, bro, I was going back to my old ways. You know what I mean? I was just like bottling everything in. And I was just like, it was just one small thing that just broke me. Like broke me. And I was just like, fuck it.
Wow.
Excuse my language, but I was just like, forget it. I don't even want to be here no more.
And I never heard this story.
You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, I felt like I had did enough good in the world, enough good in there that I was just like, I feel like if I was able to take this up with God, he would understand.
Mm.
But I was just like, you know what I mean? I think of my kids, man. And I think, you know, I got to show my son that you can be able to be emotional. You can feel this love. You can be able to go through these hard times. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what's more important. I think like with us men, we just gotta really be able to have somebody or have someone we go to, but also know like it's no room to give up, man. We it's people that depend on us. You know what I mean? And no matter how hard it get, man, you can do it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You can do it. Just don't give up. You know what I mean? I always say this. I promise, man. It's always about moving forward. You know what I mean? Always move forward, no matter what those steps look like. If they baby steps, if they crawls, it's always one step at a time. And as long as you moving forward, you gonna get there.
I like to, you said one step at a time. I like to look at it like a ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a picture of a regular ladder. You got another ladder that's got like 5 feet in between it. And it's like you want to go to that one and that one so you can get there quicker. But you're going to end up
Yeah,
falling trying to get to that next rung that's super far away. Just
yeah,
go step by step, rung by rung, and you're going to get there. It's going to take time.
for sure.
You might go a step or two back, but just realize that, you know, keep going forward or keep going up, however you want to look at it.
Absolutely.
And don't look back.
Yeah, man. And don't be. And I think like I just got out of that, like going to the people that I like trust that I can always go to. You know what I mean? Because for whatever, like I said, I went back to my old ways, bro, and I knew like at that moment it was like, nah, not again, not again, because I had got myself to such a place of where I was like, I don't care, like I love to, I love to feel what I feel, and I'm gonna let it out. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. I'm cool with that.
A fuck it mentality.
Yeah, I was just like, listen, I feel this way, and I don't care that you can see me as vulnerable or see me as weak. I don't care because at least I'm getting it out. But I was going back to my old ways, like, all right, I'm gonna just keep taking jabs. I'm gonna keep taking. I'm gonna keep taking. I'm gonna be depressed. Money ain't this. Money, you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep doing that. Keep doing this. And I was just holding it. Boom, break, boom, straight explosion.
That bottle gonna end up busting, man.
Yeah, man, and it was a reality check. It was a
Mhm.
real reality check, and now it's just like, yeah, never again, never again.
Uh, I've been in that boat so many times, brother.
Yeah,
Like some things I've talked to you about, or some of my closest friends, or, of course, my therapist, I go once a week. Sometimes you don't want to say nothing because you don't want to put your burdens or whatever on the next person because everybody going through something. So when
right,
you realize everybody going through something, sometimes you just choose not to say nothing. But if you keep choosing not to say nothing, you're going to keep on filling that bottle,
for sure.
and that bottle going to end up, bursting. And
It will.
like you said, the smallest thing make you explode. And then it's like a person looking at you like, what the hell did I do? And,
Mm-hmm.
or you might, like you said, fall back into the old ways of doing stuff. And it is never any good going to
Yeah,
come
for
from
sure.
it. So, the message is that if you're going through something or something bothering you, or you need to get something off your chest, you got to find that outlet that's positive, a person, or like you said, music, or writing it down, or, maybe the gym, or
Yep.
you got to find a positive outlet
Yep.
because when you go left and go negative, it's not going to end well. You're going to put yourself in a worse position than you already were. And then you're going to snap out of it and be like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure, man. Please go see a therapist. I mean, even if you are feeling suicidal, suicide hotline that you can call, man. It's a lot of resources out there for a lot of people, and that's not just for us men. I mean, it's for everybody. This message is really for everybody. It's just coming from men who you would assume that's supposed to be tough and stronger, man. You know what I mean? Like we all go through things, and when you are going through things, man, it's okay to reach out to whoever that person is, that thing is. You know what I mean? Go do that, man. Don't let anything bottle up. Don't hold anything in, because I think you're more stronger if you are able to be emotionally available and emotionally intelligent and be able to express yourself and express exactly how you feel.
And I don't like to make things about race, but in the black community, it's, I won't say talk down, but it's kind of like, oh, you don't need to go see nobody. Like you said, man up or toughen up or this and that. Go see a therapist.
Yeah, I think that whole I think it's all shifting. I think
Oh
it's
yeah, for
it's a whole
sure.
shift now.
For sure.
Now for sure. Um, so my next, what you rather do? Would you rather be emotionally available in a relationship but feel vulnerable, or stay guarded and risk losing someone who cares?
At the age and experience I am now and what I have now, I would say be emotionally available, but not overdoing it. You know what I'm saying?
But it's saying like you emotionally available in a relationship but feel vulnerable, or stay guarded and risk losing someone who cares.
It depends on the relationship and it depends on how long it is. Like the time that you've been in that relationship, whether you can be vulnerable or, guarded.
I think I would rather be um emotionally available and feel vulnerable. Um and I say that only because when you are emotionally available with somebody and be vulnerable with somebody, I think a lot of times, especially with us men, we're going to get that back from a woman, because women do move on an emotional, wavelength. So I think that, I'm not going to say every woman, but I'm saying
Right.
like most women, if you are able to be emotionally available to them, that they will be security and make you feel okay to be vulnerable with them. So I'd rather have that than be vulnerable, because I mean, not be vulnerable but be guarded,
Right.
because if I'm able to be emotionally available and feel vulnerable with this person, that if they don't take me for who I am and what I am, then that's not a person that I should be with anyway. Because I
For
don't think
sure.
in any relationship, I think no relationship that you should feel guarded. Like there should be no reason why, if you're in a relationship with somebody, that you should be in any position to be guarded and not give that person that emotional side, because you want to be equally yoked, you know what I mean? Like,
For
and
sure.
not just on the spiritual side, but also like on the emotional side, you know what I mean? So it's that's a no-brainer for me. But you do have some people who are willing to be guarded and truly lose someone who cares because of whatever trauma that they've been through, that they don't trust. I think the whole, anytime you are guarded is because you don't trust that person.
And that's what I was going to kind of say. Like you might be guarded in the beginning because the trust isn't all the way
Yeah.
there yet.
Yeah.
But you eventually have to become emotionally vulnerable. Now,
Yeah.
if it's months or years go by, I won't say months, years go by, and you say you might still have your guard up, something ain't right there. Like
True.
there's
I can agree.
something that isn't right if years go by and you still got your guard up. Because why? What is it
Yeah.
that I'm showing you or I'm not doing that makes you feel that you need to be guarded still?
That's true.
So
That's a true statement. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, I would, like, in the beginning I would say dating. Dating, yeah. Um you can give a little bit of emotional availability to that person. I wouldn't say give it all,
right,
but I would, in the beginning, everybody get a clean slate with me. You know what I mean?
for sure.
You get a full clean slate. There's no reason why I can't trust you.
Right.
Like, I can't trust you until you show me I can't. I can trust you until the fact that I can't. You know what I mean?
I like to
So,
be like that too, but I done been burnt like that before, bro.
Yeah, but you live and you learn though, because
It hurt.
it'll hurt. But guess what though? If you continue to be emotionally available to the next one, your next one might be the right one. The next one might be the right one who's not going to take advantage of that emotional availability and that vulnerability, and they gon' love you and treat you exactly how you want to be treated. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, again, like, you don't give them, I wouldn't say give them your all,
Right.
but give them enough to let them see or to show them that, hey, I'm willing to be a bit vulnerable with you. I'm willing to be emotionally available to you,
Right.
so you can be that with me. And from there, you continue to grow, and you just keep, like you said, like that ladder. You go to the next step, and you go to the next step, and then, months become years.
Turn
Years,
into a lifetime.
it could turn into a lifetime.
That's
So
what you want.
yeah, absolutely, man. So
sure.
you definitely I say, being emotionally available is one of the dopest things that you can do or be in a relationship, for real, because you at that point, I mean, I feel like it takes the intimacy and everything
100%.
to another level that's just like what they say, fireworks.
For real. And it's like I mean, it's levels to it. You got to start off small with the
Mhm.
emotional vulnerability, and you build it. But like you said, if you got the right one, they will love and respect that you are, that type of person. And it just makes everything that much better, man. For sure.
But I would say this, like, what if you was to go into a situation, like, and just be completely like, here it is. How you think that'll be? Like, I seen a YouTube video, right? And it was like questions to fall in love. Like, it was something like questions to fall in love, and it was like a series of questions. And it was like, did it work? And it was like two friends or something. And I was like, man, I wonder if, like, you can fall in love, like blind date, fall in love just from the questions that's being asked. Because a lot of the questions were like super vulnerable questions, like that you really had to like reach deep inside. So I wonder, like, first date, like, all right, let me ask these questions for us to fall.
I mean,
Is that a real thing? Do you think that's a real thing?
I'll phrase it like this: love at first sight.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. If you and that other person are both level headed or level and clear headed,
Yeah.
and you go into that with the intention on, becoming something, and, you don't have ill intent with that person, and you end up vibing with that person, I really do think that, you could end up falling for that person quickly.
Agreed. I feel like you
And
can fall in love at first sight.
sometimes it might be falling in lust, though. Like if y'all sexually active
that is a real
quick,
thing
it
too.
could be lust that you think is love. But if you go, a couple dates and you don't get sexually, active, or, you just go out and you do certain things, and, it's not always just linking up at the crib and all of that, I think that you can fall in love, you know,
So do you
rather
think?
soon.
So do you think like hitting on the first night is a what you like is hitting on the first night a red flag? Is it a green flag? Is it a
Um,
like what is hitting on the first night? Is it just lust, or could it be love? Like, what you think?
it depends on how it happens to me. So if you
Okay.
just go straight to a person's house and boom, then that's kind of like a lust thing. But, if y'all go out and eat or go kick it and do this, and then,
Wine and dine.
wine and dine, and of course, you get a little liquor in your system, that kind of might take over. Yeah. That's just that. I don't see that as a red flag, but
Yeah, I think like I'm all about vibes, for real.
100%.
Like if the connection is there and the vibe is there, it wouldn't matter. I can't hit the first night. Cool. I see you next time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh,
Right.
you let me hit the first night. I see you. I see you next time.
It depends on how you feel about the person.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Connections are a real thing, man. I'm real big on just like having a connection, and then you really from there, man. You got to really start being able to facilitate and judge whether or not like this person's true colors. You know what I mean? And I think that's another difficult thing to do when it comes to relationships. You know what I mean? First dating and stuff is kind of like really navigating through someone's true colors, because when you in that honeymoon phase, like, you know, you doing and saying all the things and
Sweet
you
nothings.
doing all the things that they want you to do and saying all the right stuff, and it's kind of like, you know, let's see how we are in 6 months. Let's see how we are after 2 years, 3 years, 4
Right.
years. You know what I mean? Is that feeling still the same? And, you know what I mean? I think for a lot of people, you know, you got to start falling in love again. Because, you know, you can get into the motions sometimes, and, you know, people can change. I mean, not always for the bad. You know what I mean? People do evolve and grow and, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So I think it's just all about, how can we fall in love again and make it work? And if it's not meant to be, then it's not meant to be.
And I really think that a lot of people are falling in love again. And it's about love, because for a moment there, it was about what could a person do for you? Or, you know, how can that person make you feel secure?
Yeah,
Versus just really getting to know them and seeing if this is something you could vibe with for
sure.
a long time. So I think that the love is really starting to, you know, make its way back around.
Yeah.
For things that I've seen lately, you know.
Yeah, man. And for I all you ladies, man, listen to LMA Little Things, man. She maps out the game plan for it. I mean, for real. I heard that song and I was like, that's it.
That's the one. Huh? I gotta listen to it.
That's it.
I gotta listen to that one.
LMA Little Things. Like, you hear what she say, like, that's what you ladies need to be listening to. You know what I mean? Listen, I love me some Lotto, some Glorilla. I love it. I mean, it be turned. But we need to get back to that love stuff.
Seriously.
To that love. Hey, shout out LMA. But y'all ladies want the game? Y'all want the game? Y'all want to know what us men like?
Mm-hmm. That's the one.
That's the one.
LMA Little Things.
LMA Little Thing.
I gotta hear it. I gotta see.
I
what
would
you're talking
almost
about.
bust out this song right now and sing it right now. That's just
We don't want no copyright issue.
nah. We don't want it, but I'm telling you, LMA Little Things, man. Ladies, listen, I know the ladies know the song. I know they know
The
it.
real ones.
Stop right now.
Listen to that one.
Get your notebook out. Jot notes, man. And ladies, if you got a song that us men need to listen to,
Let us know.
let us know. Put it in the comment section.
I'm all for improvement.
Come on, I'm all for it.
For sure.
I'm all for elevating my life, love life, and everything. I'm all about it. So, ladies, if it's something that a man, you know what I mean, a song, put it in there.
Let a brother know.
Let a brother know. But we about to wrap this up. We have our adulting fail of the week. Again, let's go. So
What was that one?
we got another adulting fail of the week, man. This came in, again, anonymously. We're not going to put nobody's names out there. But if y'all want to start putting people on blast, man, just let us know. We're going to do that. But here it goes. Adulting fail of the week. It says, I sat down to do my budget like a responsible adult. I even had a spreadsheet open and everything. 5 minutes in, I saw Chris Brown tickets drop. And suddenly I was like, you can't put a price on joy.
Oh boy.
Long story short, I'll be singing my heart out next month from my friend's couch.
What? My
Hey.
friends.
Hey, moral of the story, rent is due, but so is Chris Brown.
Oh my God.
Talk about priorities, dog.
Listen, and I wish they would have threw an age on there, because we've all
Yeah.
been young and, you know, messed up with some finances here and there. But
Rent is due.
it gets to a certain point where you know, you gotta have your priorities in line if
Hey.
you're really adulting though.
Rent is due, right?
Rent is due.
But Chris Brown tickets.
I'll be
Come on.
singing my heart out from my friend's couch next.
Hey, that's crazy. But you listen, and he kissing girls on stage now. I mean, he kissing girls
You
on
serious?
stage. What? You ain't see the video?
And my girl want to go to a Chris Brown concert.
Man, he done kiss. He done brought a girl on stage and was kissing on her, bro. Tell me about it.
Don't send your girl to a Chris Brown show.
Or she gonna get took.
She pay that $1,000 or they come get her out the crowd.
For that VIP, she gonna get took.
She belongs to the streets.
She belongs to the streets.
Oh,
But
shit.
anyway, man, this your boy Jamal Zay.
It's Sean Ford.
And this is another episode of
What You Talking About?
And happy Men's Mental Health Month.